Hey everybody, it's your old buddy Bill, and times have been good for old Bill lately. I've got a sweet new gig down outside the 7-Eleven. I just sling this sign around 12 hours a day for about, pulls in some pretty good bread in my opinion, and I'm here to tell you that you're about to hear some pretty explicit words on this podcast, and if you go back and listen to older episodes, you might hear a few things here and there, maybe about me, maybe about other things, and I just want to let everybody know that they're pretty much not true. I've checked, I've listened to them, I've checked my bank records, I've checked my journals, and I have no memory of any of this stuff happening. To quote the great philosopher Ronald Reagan, I don't recall. I just don't recall it. And so it'd be really cool if you actually didn't listen at all. Because I don't want to get back to Mr. 11, where I work, or Mrs. 11. Okay, I haven't checked. Could be both, could be neither. Who knows? So, anyway, you got it.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest and greatest installment of Deep Folking. Whoa. So this is the segment or episodic format of our show where we talk about things that are not state episodes.
Yep.
And today in the studio we have myself, Brett, accompanied by
Nick.
Excellent.
Nick is here.
Who else is here?
Yep, Ethan too.
Great. Brett, Nick, and Ethan.
Yep.
The A-team.
Whoa, we got upgraded.
We're the A-team now.
That's right, Dan, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's like the 18s, but people like us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
We did it.
Finally. So if you guys have listened to our show before, this is a place where we allow ourselves to take a divergent from our normal state episodes,
right,
and go into something interesting that we want to talk about other than American state folklore.
Yeah.
Let our hair down a little bit, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. These are more of a free-form discussion around a topic that we picked maybe a week or so ago.
Yeah.
Or in your time, who knows?
Who knows? We've studied this for years.
That's right. So tonight, what we're actually going to be talking about is a genre of movie that I think our listeners would all actually really appreciate and enjoy. And chances are, if you listen to the show, you probably are already familiar with the genre.
Greek musicals.
Oh, it's amazing. Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia.
I think that qualifies as a Greek musical because it is set in Greece and it is a musical.
That's right.
Quick question about Mamma Mia before we get into the actual topic.
I'm so ready.
Yeah, let me hear it.
Do you think that Mamma Mia was was set in a universe in which ABBA was incredibly popular and everybody knew the songs to ABBA, or ABBA never existed and the writer just chose to use ABBA music for it? What do you think makes the most sense in universe? And go.
I'll let you go first, Ethan. You look like you got a good point.
I'm ready for it. I think it's one where ABBA was overwhelmingly popular and everyone knows it.
I'm really glad you said that because I was going to say the complete opposite. I think that ABBA completely does not exist because there are several scenes in the movies where the stars of ABBA are like in them. Usually like in the second one, in the scene where they're in like the little French cafe.
You've seen way more of fucking Mamma Mia than I have.
No, I've seen the second one like 4 times.
Oh, a classic.
I have a problem. So when they're in like the French cafe scene, one of the guys playing the piano is one of the original members of ABBA.
ABBA.
If they were truly that
John
that
ABBA himself.
John ABBA himself. descended from the mount to play the piano.
So if
they were that popular, like he definitely would have gotten recognized.
That's actually
That's
a
a
very
really good
compelling
point.
argument.
yeah,
We're just shifting gears. We're only truly talking about Greek musicals.
that's right.
Also known as
Specifically Mamma Mia
and
and
Mamma
Mamma
Mia
Mia
2.
Mamma Mia 2, I have not seen. Should I see it?
I think I like it better than the first one, honestly.
I hear Cher's in it.
Cher is in it.
That's
That's
great.
That's
Yeah.
a bonus right there.
Wow. Woo.
Cher's
Icon.
in it. Lily James is in it as
Wow.
young mother to the main girl.
Yeah.
I know her name because I've watched them 5
I
times.
think her name is ABBA.
Yes, the young ABBA.
Young app. Fantastic.
That's Mamma Mia, right?
Yeah.
She's Mamma Mia.
Well, Mamma Mia is played by Meryl Streep traditionally, and this is young Mamma Mia.
It's a prequel.
Is this a prequel? Is Mamma
It's-
Mia 2 a prequel?
It's a little bit of both. It's a sequel, technically.
So it's like Godfather 2.
It is like Godfather 2. They
So
bounce
good.
back and forth. So a little bit of it is young Mamma Mia,
Right.
as she's like,
Like a young
banging all 3
Don
guys that
Corleone.
could potentially be the dads. And then it
Right.
jumps back to the present day where the
Yeah.
daughter, Sophie, that's her name, when Sophie is trying to get the hotel up and running. It's a
Okay.
phenomenal film. Should have won all the awards.
So Mamma Mia 2 is the Godfather 2 of Greek music.
Right.
franchise.
Yep.
The Mamma Mia franchise.
Fredo's in it. Everybody loves him.
Yeah.
Just kidding. They don't because he's Fredo.
Look what they did to my Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia, you were my mother. I loved you.
Oh, shit.
That's when she kills Meryl Streep.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what you pay.
Of course.
In cold blood.
Spoilers.
Oh,
everyone.
sorry. So anyway, that was our digression on Mamma Mia.
We-
That's why we have these episodes.
We're,
Sorry, everybody.
we're actually not talking about Mamma Mia today.
We're not. We're talking about a genre of film called folk horror. Sorry, still on the Mamma Mia train there.
so,
If you like that idea, though, let us know on Twitter.
Yeah.
We'll pick it back up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll pick that one right back up because you guys know we're all about fan feedback and ignoring it.
all right, so folk horror.
Folk horror, yeah, it's
What-
a subgenre of horror fiction.
Yeah.
That started out as literature. They got moved into the movie world in
Right.
like the 70s.
Okay.
And I think it's something that our audience would actually very much appreciate. Because like one of the things that kind of typifies the genre of folk horror is the inclusion of folklore
Oh,
as part
great.
of like the entities to
That's
it.
us.
Right, exactly. That's where the intersection of
We're making-
folklore
we're
and
making hand
movies-
motions.
Yeah, that's right.
Our fingers are interlacing.
My fingers and Ethan's fingers are interlaced.
Lacing, but separately.
I've turned down the lights
Yeah.
and we're all ready now.
Exactly. It's on an amorous mood in the studio tonight.
So folk horror.
Folk horror,
You-
yes.
You got any? That's a pretty good. I was going to ask for a definition, but that sounds like a good definition.
So typically, what you'll see in a folk horror movie
Yeah.
is using pre-Christian folk traditions as part of the catalyst for the thrills and chills of the movie.
Right.
So like it would like I'll give you an example. It will,
Okay.
Like it would not be like the Exorcist would not fall into folk horror
Dude. Yeah.
because the Exorcist.
The other day we were talking about an audience.
This, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
The reason why the Exorcist would not be included in this
Yeah.
is because it's going to have Judeo-Christian mythology as the catalyst for the horror,
Right.
as opposed to folk horror, which is a pre-Christian mythology.
Yeah.
So,
I dig it.
yeah, what you'll also see is like a lot of times these movies are not super like positive towards magic practice or polytheists because those are usually the bad guys.
Yeah.
But someone like myself that's in both of those communities absolutely loves these movies because a lot of times the directors actually get a lot of stuff right in them, which is fun.
They do their homowork.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not just cult shit.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, here's a specific thing
right. Like
that we're taking from.
Hereditary, for
Yes.
example.
Oh, man.
It's good horror movie, close-ish to folk horror, not quite in my personal definition
Right.
of it, because a lot of the stuff was close but not quite right.
Yeah. I can see that.
It lied heavily on the demon aspect of it.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, at the very hereditary spoilers. Sorry, everybody.
Sorry, it's been out for quite a while.
Yeah, you should
Thanos
just watch it.
brings
Should've watched
everybody back to life.
It's crazy. At the very end, I felt like the cult thing it felt like, I'm trying to think of a good word for it, but it felt like the director was like, okay, here's some cult shit. All right, there it is. That's it.
That
he didn't do his homework.
For like an occult practitioner was like a fucking grab bag of things that look occult but aren't quite.
The Party City of occult, basically.
Yeah, kind of. It was like, a little bit of that. I like the aesthetic of that.
These spiders are icky, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it didn't make a cohesive practice in it. But a folk horror film, when done well, makes you feel like the entities or the things in the background could actually be a real thing.
Yeah.
And I think I'll give you an example of what I consider to be a good folk horror movie, which is The Ritual. Has any of you guys seen that?
I've seen The Ritual.
I haven't seen it, but it's come up a lot in my research.
You should watch it. We won't spoil it for you since you haven't seen it.
It's the Swedish film, right?
Yes.
Yeah. On
And-
Netflix.
Oh,
Yes.
with the fish.
Yeah.
The famed
It's
gelatin fish.
That's right. It's terrifying.
It's horrible.
There's sugar in those things.
I know. Whoa.
Did you like The Ritual, Ethan? I'm curious.
I enjoyed The Ritual, but The Ritual became something that I didn't expect. I was expecting a not Blair Witch Project, but something
Feels like it in the beginning.
something closer to that, because I thought it was going to be set in more of a concrete reality.
Yeah.
So I thought that The Ritual, it was going to be culty,
Right.
cult light diet cult.
Yeah.
New cult.
And then it went full
on
and I was
cult.
like, oh fuck. So not only is it like cult, it is like fucking, not only are they a cult, but they're right. So that's what they made a lot of decisions with that, especially at the end when the fucking thing happens and you're like, okay.
They were right the whole time. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Who could have guessed?
Yeah.
It kind of comes out of left field there.
And for anyone listening who hasn't watched it, I do recommend you watch it. It's really good.
Absolutely.
But you'll know exactly what we're talking about when you watch. Like Nick, when you watch it, you'll know precisely the moment we're referring
I'll
to.
text you guys and be like, it did happen and you were right.
Yeah.
This was vague enough to not give anything away major.
Yeah.
Because I do want you to see it, because we may end up talking about this later.
Yeah.
But holy shit, it takes a hard right turn.
Ooh, it does. It really does. Yeah.
And I think that is a good example of it done very well.
Sure.
And for those of you that like cult folk horror movies.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was kind of a lot of genre names mushed together. The genre kicks up in like the 70s, 80s. Because that was at a time where like folk magic and like practical magic and polytheism was getting kind of a revival in the world, especially in the UK, which is actually where this whole genre starts.
So we're talking English.
You're talking like English,
Western Europe.
Yeah, Western Europe. Yeah, too. And that's why there's a very limited amount of this,
Right.
Because it's a genre that didn't really take off in like huge popularity. That's why there's like, as we've only named about 3 of them.
Yeah.
It's a pretty limited genre.
Yeah.
But when done right, I think that this audience would fucking eat it up.
I
Because
think so.
I do. And
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like kind of the target audience for this show. Too.
That's true.
They just open the movie and they're like, now watching so-and-so for Brett.
Yeah,
For-
thanks. I'm in the special acknowledgments.
Yeah. Special thanks to Brett.
Yeah. And one of the things that I think is kind of to me, masterpiece of the genre, and probably the first most famous one, is the Wicker Man.
2006. Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage, 2006.
No. God, no.
No, absolutely
just gonna
not.
scrub it.
Yeah.
It's like Scrub season 9. We're gonna just
It does.
didn't
Yeah.
happen.
We will talk about that Wicker
Right.
Man.
We will get to that one.
Right.
But what we want to talk about tonight is the original Wicker Man and our thoughts and feelings on it as part of the folk horror genre.
Perfect.
Sound good?
That's
all in.
That
All
sounds
right.
fantastic.
So if you guys haven't seen this movie, now would be a really good time to pause this, go watch the movie,
Right.
which you can find available on iTunes or
Oh, yeah.
elsewhere on the internet.
Just somewhere else.
Just who knows? I don't know because
Turn
I
your
bought the
antivirus,
movie.
though.
Yeah, I purchased it.
Exactly for
As
this
did
episode.
I.
Nick also purchased it. We
Yep.
now own 3 copies of The Wicker Man
on VHS.
Yep, that's fantastic.
Fired right up my old tape player.
Yeah, just fired it up, just put it in.
Came over to Nick's house with his nice, wood walls.
Yeah,
shag carpeting.
Really fucking.
It's not because of the deep pile of the carpet. It's because we fuck on it.
Fuck.
A really big fat TV.
Yeah,
it weighs 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, can't get it upstairs.
Yeah, it's like, well, this is where the TV lives.
We built the room around it. To our
in-wall
shelving
TV.
Yeah, remember when people did that with TVs? It was so goddamn heavy. They're like, okay, here's the living room. This is gonna be it for 40 years.
Yeah, we're gonna fix this fucking thing when it breaks.
Yep.
And that's it.
We're not taking down the wood paneling because I can't move the TV.
It's built into the surrounding shelves, which are anchored into the fucking bedrock of the wall.
Exactly.
Our titanium nails and concrete, everything.
Yeah.
I'm describing my parents' house
Right.
in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, I was picturing my grandmother's old house.
Yeah.
Same.
Pretty accurate.
Same. I was
Pretty
picturing
cool.
Nick's grandma's house.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
We've all been there. That's where we watched The Wicker Man.
Exactly.
So, 1973.
A very good year.
The Wicker Man.
The Wicker Man comes out to a probably mediocre, critical.
From what I read, critics were cool with it.
Yeah,
but not a lot of people went and saw it.
Yeah, that's pretty much the case. It didn't really pick up in popularity until it was something that you could, buy a copy for yourself.
Right.
I'm not going to go to the theater and tell people I'm really weird. I just am, so I'll buy it later.
Right, exactly. I don't want them to know what I'm into.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So, by the way, we're going to start talking about the movie now. So if you haven't watched it,
we gave you the warning.
You've been spoiler warned, all right? So I don't feel bad about this.
We'll even give you an extra 2 seconds.
Okay. There we go.
That was so great. Yeah. Wow. All right.
So Wicker Man is a really good example of the genre.
Yeah.
Filmed in the United Kingdom, specifically in Scotland, I believe in the Hebrides. So those are the little islands off the coast of Scotland.
Great.
And
great location.
Beautiful location.
It was gorgeous.
As you can see in the movie.
Yeah.
First of all, you have to get in there by a plane.
Yeah.
Seaplane.
Which, by the way, so should we describe the plot of the movie?
Yeah, let's do
and then
that.
handle the culty.
Yeah, we'll
Sure.
give like the
Not
10,000
culty because
It's not quite, but sort of. Cult is not necessarily a bad term in this.
Right.
Because it's the part of their religion.
Yeah.
And a cult is just a hidden religion outside of the modern day pejorative term.
Right. Like, can we all just because I've had that discussion before, cults versus religions. I don't want to launch into that because that's a whole
Well, it would
big
actually
thing,
be
but-
pretty
Oh,
pertinent to the
Yeah,
film.
it's actually probably spot on.
Because a cult unto itself, prior to like the modern day 20th century death cult, where all the practitioners either kill themselves or force the government to kill them,
Right.
wasn't really a bad thing, and isn't really, because it's typically just a hidden or closeted secretive group of people practicing a similar practice.
Yeah.
And where it's not really either a welcome to the public or not a proselytizing type
Yeah.
of religion that brings people in.
Right.
It's something that you have to seek out.
Yeah.
Or
Exactly.
like this is our thing. We're gonna kind of
Yeah,
we'll do it. If
exactly.
you find us and you're interested, cool. Come hang out and have dinner. But
Right.
Yeah.
otherwise, leave us alone.
Exactly.
So I think there's a Frank Zappa quote that said the only difference between cult and religions is membership. And I've always
That's
Wow,
a good quote.
that is really good.
I've always stuck with that as like kind of I know that that's probably there's a way better definition for it, but I always thought about that. We've all just agreed. Like take Christianity for example.
Right.
We've all just agreed that all that is normal.
Right.
You
because
know?
there's so many people that do it.
Right. So we've
And
all
his-
just
yeah.
kind of like paper. There's no actual value to money. It's just paper.
Yeah, we've all
know?
collectively agreed there is value. to
Right,
it.
exactly. So that's why I always give cults that aren't, super duper spoopy and, scaring people, I guess. I'm always kind of okay with them. I'm like,
Right.
oh, yeah, okay. In an alternate universe, maybe they're the
like mainstream religion.
right, So that's kind of the vibe I got from Wicker Man the whole time, and partially
Yeah.
why I fucking hated Howie. And I didn't,
you now are in
I
the
did-
camp
wh-
of people that hate
I didn't
Howie.
know
we
we were
convinced him in like 30 seconds before we started recording.
because
We
watch
were just kind of like feeling each other out.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I don't know. know.
I don't
we
know.
said that, and he goes, "Oh my God, you're right."
You know what? Fuck that guy.
Before we get into fuck Howie, let's give a little brief outline of the movie.
Right.
So for those of you guys that have watched the movie now, obviously the movie is about Sergeant Howie, the detestable cop from London, who is the worst, absolute
Awful.
worst, that is flown into Summer Isle, which is owned and managed by the local chief, mayor, whatever, lord, who knows, Summer Isle.
I think they called him Lord Summer Isle.
And he's like apparently like the municipal and religious head of this little community. And he's played by Christopher Lee and is excellent.
He kills it.
He's
so
really
good.
does.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about why he's amazing in a little bit. But essentially, Howie, who is the worst, goes to Summer Isle because a child has been reported missing.
Yeah.
So he flies to this remote village on an island in the Hebrides to go find this missing child.
By himself.
Alone.
On a little seaplane.
Yeah, which apparently he knows how to drive, and
right,
which is great, I guess.
Scotland, everybody has a seaplane.
Apparently.
During the opening titles, when it just is him flying in the little plane, I'm going, God, how
far away is this?
What the fuck is going on?
He flew there from
Takes
London.
off and lands 5 minutes later, and he goes, "Oh, what a flight!"
Boy, my arms down.
So he's on this little one-man seaplane.
Like a single-engine seaplane.
He lands and is immediately
a turd.
A turd to everybody.
Like he gets greeted by the harbor master, who is like, "Hey, like, are you lost? Like, why are you here?
Nobody comes here. Is your plane broken?"
Right.
And he just like opens the door and he goes, "Fuck you, give me a boat." And he's like,
"Get me a fucking boat."
Okay.
That is not far from the interaction because the guy's like, "Can I help you? This is private property," and
which is a normal thing to say.
And yes, I need a dinghy.
And the guy's like, "What? Why?
A dinghy! Give me a dinghy."
That really is pretty good.
Very accurate.
He's on this fucking megaphone just going like, "Get a dinghy now!"
And it's like three old guys that are on the shore. Like three elderly.
He was like Howie was half a second from being like, "I'm a fucking cop! You want to get arrested?"
So they take him into the village, and he explains that he's there investigating the fact that this little girl is missing. And then you get all these like little background snippets of what's going on in the village.
Yeah.
Which we're going to talk about in a second because it's fucking amazing.
It is.
He goes through his investigation, turns up nothing. He has the deductive reasoning of a child.
He is the worst detective.
He's like,
and we've seen Inspector Gadget.
Yeah. He is awful. Every sign is pointing towards scary, spooky shit going on.
Right.
And at no point is he like, "You know
No,
what?
the girl's not gone. I should probably stay here."
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, no, there's never been a Rowan here.
A Rowan? What are you? What?
You're rowing that dinghy over, aren't you?
Her? No, never.
Every interaction is like that, where Howie's like, "Are you sure? Where's the kid?"
But really, where is she? Oh, I don't know nothing about that, sir.
Yeah. You should talk to Lord Summer Isle. And Howie's like, "I'll do that tomorrow."
I'll get to that, but I'm going to question all these people.
Why isn't the dude in charge the first person he talks to?
Excuse me, person in charge of this 20-person town.
Yeah,
I have
right.
to talk to you about one of your missing 20 people.
Right. There's like fucking 40 people that live here, and one of them clearly isn't
Right.
here. Why would you not talk to him first?
The dude in charge of the... Anyway.
Well, not even that. Who called him?
Yeah.
That was my only problem with the movie.
They called him.
Okay,
so it is a they.
It's implied that Lord
right.
Summer Isle summons him.
Right.
Yeah, I remember now. Because
which-
of the lawman thing.
Right.
Yes.
Anyway, so he's got this picture of the kid, and he keeps showing it to everybody, and they're like, "I don't know what the fuck you're talking about." And Howie's like, "You know what? I'm not going to call for backup."
Because me, Sergeant Howie,
An unarmed English officer.
strong arm Bobby, is going to take this
Give me
one.
a whiskey and the child.
Yeah. He's drinking on the job, by the way,
Right.
as well.
Like hard liquor, not and they have beer. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
He
shown that they have
He could kick back with a beer, but
They
instead
have
he's like,
barrels of ale, and he just walks up to the bartender and barks, "Whiskey!"
and he starts hitting his fucking wallet or whatever on the counter.
so rude.
Yeah, and he's like, "Hey, all you pub fucks, I'm here to find this fucking kid, and if any of y'all are fucking lying to me,
I'm gonna
gonna
put
arrest
you on my little seaplane. We're gonna go to London.
I'm gonna arrest you and take you to London one at a time.
I'll be back.
It's gonna cost a lot in fuel, but it'll be worth it.
It'll be worth
Especially
it
you
for the good of the queen and realm."
and Lord Jesus Christ.
So
We
that
haven't even gotten to that
yeah.
part.
So essentially, he goes through the rest of his time there trying to find this kid, right? And he can't. And he sees a bunch of weird cult stuff, which we'll talk about. And then he meets Christopher Lee, who's charismatic as hell. It's
His
just
hair is what sold me.
I
I was like, man, that guy's so cool.
it was
He
incredible.
looks awesome.
Yeah,
And his speech is just impeccable.
really, right? I loved it. So
He talks to him, finds
Yeah.
out more about the island after seeing some like
Mhm.
religious things that he completely discounts.
Yes.
and is kind of a bigot about.
yeah, he's like, "I don't see any church."
Where's your church?
So
heathens?
She's in the churchyard? And they're like, well, no, it's not really a church. And he goes, it's a goddamn church.
He really did.
Goddamn church.
He's like, "You pagan fucks."
and I love that scene because he goes so far out of his way to make a cross out of trash
on a grave.
On a grave.
Yeah, there's a bunch of garbage on a grave, and he like breaks it apart and makes a cross, and is like, good.
Good.
This,
I have done the Lord's work today.
My work here is done.
this is a good investment of my time.
Fuck everyone else's graves except this one.
So he goes and he confronts Lord Summerisle about the missing girl.
Right.
Lord Summerisle gives him an explanation of actually what's going on the island.
Straight up tells him everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's, like,
there's
completely
no
transparent.
deception whatsoever.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, look, my grandfather came here.
Yep.
There was nothing. He was a Victorian scientist. Great backstory, by the way.
Yeah. I'd watch the hell out of a prequel movie.
Oh, shit,
Seriously.
yeah. Right? Definitely. And he explains that he is a Victorian agronomist who brought, cultivars of plant that would actually grow on the island in its weird little microclimate.
Yeah.
And as a way of making the villagers work for him more, let them start practicing their original religion again.
Oh, yeah.
And so, if we're in the Victorian era, we're somewhere in the 19th century probably, because this movie's filmed in the 70s.
Yeah.
So I think it does take place in 1973.
Yeah,
in-
in 1972 or 73, I think.
Yeah.
So let's say Lord Summerisle's what, 40, 50 in this movie,
Yeah, give
maybe?
him 40s.
Yeah,
40s?
probably.
Yeah.
So that means he would have been born in what, the 30s, likely?
Yeah.
His father probably born in the 1890s.
Yeah.
Father's father probably,
All up in the 19th century.
yeah, sometime in the 19th century.
Yeah.
So they've apparently reverted back to their like pre-Christian religion on the
Yeah.
island. And he said that his grandfather did it as a means to an end, but his father did it out of love.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That is a really cool story.
Yeah, and so like it went from like this business decision to like his father actually started believing in it
And
and
so
joined
he's-
in, and he's like went all in.
So he's like, fuck yeah.
fuck yeah, man! I'm a fucking wealthy
Yeah.
Englishman who is also a pagan living on this island with all my dudes.
Everyone loves me.
yeah,
Everyone loves this island we got going on.
like we can fuck whenever we want. Like
Great.
This
Everyone's
island is Brett's true retirement
It
dream.
really is. If it were a place that I could go and live, I would go and live
Oh.
there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah.
So Howie shits all over that, like directly
Sure
to
does.
him, like in his own home to his face.
Yeah. Comes to this guy's home. Here's a,
Thanks
So,
for all your
like,
hospitality, but Jesus lives here,
yeah.
so I'm going to keep looking.
I'm happy your little like pagan religion's fun, but this is the Lord's island. So
And I don't mean you, Lord.
Yeah.
there's only one Lord.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
And it ain't you, buddy.
All right. So, first things first. Y'all need a church. Second things first. Where's the fucking kid?
What is the order in which he is like giving a shit?
His order of concern.
Yeah. He's like, gotta solve this case, and then way above it is like, bring Christianity
back.
A true Englishman. I mean, he's a Scotsman, but we'll just say the greater UK.
Right.
A true man of the realm.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He's like, nah, fuck this.
Again, like Lord Summerall rebuffs him completely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And like one of the most fucking funniest shutdowns of the whole movie, where he says like a heathen, conceivably, but not, I hope, an unenlightened one, and it just kicks him the fuck out of his house.
He's like, I'm not a Christian, but like, I'm not a fucking idiot, Howie.
It's so good. And he just fucking boots him out.
Yeah, I love it.
And he tells him, you should leave before tomorrow.
Yeah.
And like literally everyone on this island is telling him to leave.
You need to leave before tomorrow.
Which, if I'm being real, is probably one of the best things those citizens could have done for him.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, given how the rest of the movie goes, they're really, really trying. They're like, you should probably go home before something happens.
Because on the day of the thing, it's not.
You're not from around here. You're not going to get it.
Yeah.
And you're not going to like it, obviously.
So let's finish the plot of the film. It essentially day of the thing. It's May Day, right?
May Day. They have fertility rights and all that good stuff. So we find out the crops have been failing for the last year, and then they've got to do something drastic to make them, regrow.
Right. Some sort of sacrifice.
Yeah.
But not an animal sacrifice, because as we learned, not super potent.
Right.
Exactly. They need something super potent.
Yeah. So they build. Are we going to cut right to it?
We can cut right to it, and then we can, because there's a lot of cool stuff to unpack in the May Day celebration.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So he hunts around. May Day's going on. He eventually thinks he's tricking them, but he's a moron, and so Howie is in fact tricked. And they fucking put him in a giant Wicker Man, the name of the movie.
Yeah. He finds the girl. He thinks he's rescuing her.
The
they
girl
get to the
leads
other
him.
side of the cave, and then everybody, like Lord Summerall standing there, everybody, and he's just kind of like, I found her. And they're like, no, yeah, we know. It's you.
We know, fucking dude. Moron.
Yeah, we're now going to burn you in the Wicker Man. Yeah.
And so they sacrifice
live happily ever after.
Yeah,
that's great. I think that's the implication of the movie.
They live happily ever after. He doesn't.
Not him.
They sacrifice Howie by burning him in a giant Wicker Man effigy that is filled with livestock to really shore up the sacrifice.
Like they're really giving it all.
Like, we put some good gas in there, but here's an additive just in case.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to we don't want to fuck this up. We don't really want to do this again.
Right.
Yeah. It's
a lot of work to kill a stupid cop from Scotland.
This is tricky.
Yeah. So they burn him alive. They sing about the summer coming, and hopefully everybody has good times from then on out.
Right.
Because the greatest dick of all time is now gone.
So it all works out.
Honestly, a net positive for everybody.
Yeah. Honestly, it really works out. So that's the basic plot of The Wicker Man. Shall we start diving into the...
Absolutely.
I've got my flippers on and everything.
The culty stuff, the nitty-gritty of it.
I am 100% ready for this. So, where do you want to start? Because I've got a bunch of stuff that I'd like to talk about. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about the island itself first?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good place to
start.
That
is a good,
Yeah, we can do that.
So, the island is amazing, first of all. And, obviously they've got a lot of stuff going on there. Like, they have their own little, tight little knit insular community.
Yeah.
That has a bunch of little shops and stuff.
It's its own little economy.
Yeah, it really is. Like, they have a little,
truly self-sufficient.
a little candy shop, which is great. I want to go there.
Oh, it
really
seems
bad.
Great. Yeah, and in the candy shop, it's all of the it's a bunch of chocolate hairs.
Yeah. And
so
little skulls and
So I loved all the symbolism between the spring or the summer solstice and the rebirth and all that stuff. So all of the hairs, not rabbits. They make a point of differentiating between the two.
Yeah.
But all of the hair symbolism throughout the whole movie was really cool.
Right.
Yeah.
And the I don't know if you saw this in the candy shop too, but there's like a goddess cake
yes.
there that they've made.
Yeah.
And it was really well done too. Like, I was looking at it and I was like, that's not even remotely a prop cake. That is just
a real cake that someone made because it doesn't look like they had a huge budget for the movie, so a lot of this stuff did look handmade.
It did.
And that actually adds to it, I think.
It adds to it so much because I'm watching it going, someone made that using resources that could conceivably be on that island. So it's not like a fucking cake made with world-class ovens or something. It
Right.
looks like
it's
a nice...
you would make it at your home.
Yeah, like a
It's
nice...
like literally in the hearth.
Yeah. So the island itself is great. I loved all the fucking weird plants. They really hammered home the whole
Microclimate.
Yes. Yeah. So they're growing all these odd fruits and veggies.
Like there's palm trees there
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
You wouldn't expect in the United Kingdom.
No, not at
Yeah.
all, especially in Scotland.
Right.
And so I loved all of that stuff. I loved the castle that
the castle's amazing. that
Yeah.
he lives
Really
in.
well done.
It's
Yeah.
like it's clearly like a Victorian home in a castle.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the perfect place for
Absolutely.
Lord Summerisle to live in.
He's drinking out of big goblets.
He's got like a piano in the foyer.
Which the music's a whole other thing. We could
we'll get to the
yeah, we
music.
could just dive into that. But yeah, the whole vibe of the island, all of the English people, not English people, but all of the folks
Yeah.
just living on the island seemed super happy to be there.
My favorite building in this whole fucking island is the Green Man Inn.
Yes,
Like, does that not look like somewhere that you would want to go and hang out?
that's
Oh, I would absolutely
yeah.
stay there.
I love it.
Like, they've got like folk band playing. They're all fucking around and having a good time. And then Howie comes in and is like, "Shut the fuck up, everyone!"
Why are you so rowdy in this pub?
In the one place of relaxation on this island, why is everyone blowing off steam?
Man, your crops are dead, but who gives a shit? There's no church.
And the thing that I love about the Green Man Inn,
Yeah.
the innkeeper, so 70s gay, and I love
for
him.
sure.
He's like Mr. Roper.
He really is. He's like super duper balding, and
He's got like the ascot,
and he's like, "Welcome." Yeah, I loved it.
he's so funny.
I'm looking over the notes that Brett made these notes.
Painstakingly made. I
Yeah,
would add.
they're incredible notes. And Brett, do you just want to talk about the first few there under neat witchy things?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a bunch of shit in this movie if you look for it and you kind of know what you're looking for. So one of the first like neat things that you see is there's actually an evil eye protection spell on the boat.
Yeah, what was that?
So that's a pretty commonly used symbol, and basically what that is it's protection from bad luck, which is hilarious. Because they're using that to bring in Howie into the island.
There's a certain sense of irony for Howie. That
It ended up being good luck for them, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
not him.
exactly. Because when you know what's going to happen and you know what the spell is for, hilarious that anybody that's coming to the island they immediately consider bad luck.
Yeah, immediately. And they do make it in the film. They do make a point of showing the eye like every time someone's on that boat.
Exactly, and they like zoom in on it.
Yeah.
We really covered the candy shop pretty well. One of the things that we missed out on a little bit is that there's some amazing like goat, apple,
Yeah.
fertility items in the window display. Like literally everything in this candy shop is just typical folk magic stuff, and it's awesome. You've got the chocolate hairs in there as well, and then the little girl Myrtle is the daughter of the candy shop owner.
Yeah.
Is actually like painting a little hair.
She is.
Yeah, it's nice. And then Howie's like shits on it, kind of
Yeah.
like he does.
The best part is when she just like hands him the wet paintbrush and he looks at her like he just like
he's
she slapped him.
She just hands him the paintbrush and he takes him. He's like, "What the fuck? What the
Fuck, child.
There's paint on this, you fucking moron."
And like it's
Go paint a church.
and speaking of Myrtle, did you notice what all the villagers' names were?
I did not pick
All
up
the
on
tree
this
names,
until
yeah.
Literally everybody that is a second or third generation resident of the island has a plant-themed name.
That is so cool.
I didn't catch it until they got to Willow because like Rowan I didn't associate. I was just like, okay, they just keep saying her name.
Yeah.
And then Myrtle took me 30 seconds to figure out what the hell he was saying because it was such a heavy accent. And then I'm like, oh, Myrtle.
Myrtle.
Myrtle, what's you painting there?
Yeah.
So it was that, and then by the time I got to Willow, I was like, oh, there's a theme here.
Yeah, and they actually point this out in a kind of a throwaway line where Howie's talking to the record keeper, and he notices that there's somebody named like Michael on the original town charter.
Yeah.
Or like one of the like an older record, like maybe from like the like
right.
middle or early 20th century, late 19th century.
Yeah.
And he's like, why doesn't anyone have names like this anymore? And she's like, all of the older people had biblical names.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Could you remind me, Green Man in?
So
Green Man.
Green Man is a folklore figure.
Yeah.
It's like one of those. It's typically seen in like churches.
Okay.
So if you've ever seen a face that's a bunch of leaves, that's what it is.
Like
Okay.
the
And-
Jolly Green Giant.
No, he's kind of a modern day Green Man.
That's a good Christian man.
So the Green Man is usually a symbol of like male spirituality,
Okay.
and also fertility, rebirth, and all this.
Nice.
It's a really cool figure that
Yeah.
you get specifically. That is an English folkloric figure.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I do remember now. We talked about that during our Essex episode.
Yes.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, it's in like the church pews and like the eaves
Like
of
on
the
these
church.
sides
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah.
The landlord's daughter.
Yeah.
That's all up in folklore, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like that is like a very much like a folkloric job, I guess.
Yeah.
Or maybe like role would be a
Right.
better thing.
Yeah.
Being like the daughter of the landlord as being like a
Bonerific.
bonerific thing, yeah, for lack of a better word. And to everyone apparently but Howie.
Yeah.
No thanks. I'm engaged.
Yeah. No.
No,
No.
ma'am.
Keep
I
your
don't
pagan.
care if your boobs are nice. Stay in your room.
Stay in your room. Don't
That
come
whole
near me.
nude dancing scene
Yeah.
is fucking bizarre.
It really was. And
That's
it's
the
bizarre
most
for a bizarre
70s.
movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's saying something.
Right.
It stands out as being weird, like the dancing and the pounding on the walls and the slapping her ass. By the way, the Foley on that was really good. Two-Ray pointed
It
that
really
out while we were
was.
watching
It
it.
was. It just was.
It was like I was there.
I was like, wow.
Like they had a mic like right near the ass. For the
Well, they
ass
did. You just couldn't see it.
yeah.
70s technology.
It's a
man.
lav mic right in between the cheeks.
You know, while you're going through the town, like as Howie is going to I think he's going to Lord Summerisle's mansion for this part.
Mhm.
Or no, he's just doing a walk about the town.
This
On the first day, right?
This
Yeah.
is when I would have left.
Yeah, you would
If I were the sergeant or whatever,
Right.
detective, and I'm just like doing a walkabout and I see all the people fucking in the fields
yeah.
and it being super normal, that's when I would have been like,
Maybe this place not for me.
I'm gonna need someone else here.
What do you think?
I'm not
symbolizes?
wearing my full body condom, so I have to.
What do I think this fucking in the field means?
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely. I mean, when I was watching it, I initially was like, "Whoa," and then I kind of like simmered down, and I was like, "Well, it's probably a fertility thing."
Absolutely.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
I was
like
thinking something animal like
making the fields mimic the fertility aspect of having sex out there.
You're teaching the fields how
Yeah,
to do it. Like, see how we
exactly.
do it?
Right.
Well, you,
You
do the
do
plant
this.
version.
And it makes sense for these people are like doing fucking everything they
really
can
are.
to make the fields grow.
Yeah.
And that's one of them.
Right.
Then he goes to the graveyard, and I don't know what the symbolism of this is.
Well, the cross symbolizes Christianity.
Oh, that's what it is. I thought it was a T.
It is T for the damn church,
The goddamn church.
the nailed God.
But like he talks to the groundskeeper,
Yeah.
and like all the women are kind of watering the graves.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's supposed to be for. I guess like giving nourishment to the dead, or maybe encouraging like rebirth.
I guess I could see a rebirthing in that because
Yeah.
they're trying to.
Because they focus on that.
Yeah,
and
they-
like it's obviously like
They very
part of the
overtly
shot.
say that. They're like, look, we don't, like when he's at the school, they're like, we don't say dead.
Mhm.
It's very much like you're maybe this body is gone, but like you're coming back
True.
as something.
That was another cool point that they really focused on. Then, in fact, the school teacher makes a point of saying that they don't say dead.
She doesn't even say it, she just mouths it at
Yeah, that it's
Yeah.
it's a circle of you put circle of life,
Yeah.
death and rebirth. I dig it.
and Howie's like such a dick about that whole thing. Like where he's like, why don't you teach Christianity in this school?
And she's like, because it's a school?
Because it's a fucking school, dude. What do you?
her rebuff to it being a comparative religion subject.
Yes.
Hilarious.
I loved it. sick burn
It was
school
really
teacher. She was so cool in that initial scene, and then she just bugged the shit out of me the rest of the movie.
Really?
She just was so mean to Howie, and now that looking at Howie,
I guess that I never had that perspective because,
Yeah.
like, I immediately have hated Howie.
Oh,
from
yeah.
the first time I watched this movie, from his first interaction on screen.
well, I'm watching it and I'm going, okay, are we rooting for Howie? So I'm watching it, kind of rooting for him,
Like
but I'm
through his lens.
yeah, but I'm also laughing at Howie because it's like, well, of course they're not studying Christianity. Howie, how fucking dumb are you, man?
If Ned Flanders was a sergeant, this would be that guy.
If Ned Flanders was like intolerant
Yeah.
on top
Yeah.
of being Ned Flanders.
It really, yeah, that's a good
His, like his
comparison.
cousin Ted Flanders, who's
Yeah.
just a real dick.
Yeah,
There's just so much good symbolism in this movie.
throughout the whole thing. I mean, they're just like every scene. You can tell they did their homework.
There's something in like literally every scene.
Yeah.
Like he goes back to the graveyard and he's like talking to like the simpleton that's the graveyard keeper. And he's like, what's going on in this graveyard? Why are there trees? And he's like, well, that's where we've planted trees and according to their name.
Yeah.
And then fucking moron Howie doesn't really pick up on the fact that there's a rowan tree
Yeah.
planted on an unmarked grave.
Like, come on,
And
Howie.
his big break in the case, in air quotes, is that there's an empty desk in the school.
Yeah.
Whose desk is that? I don't know.
No one's?
Who knows? She's out sick. Who cares?
That was
Who
my
cares?
first thought. I'm like, a student's out sick. That's how elementary school works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, but whose desk is it? And they're like, nobody. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And whose desk is it? Nobody. It doesn't matter. Let me see your roll. And she's like, what the hell? No.
Yeah.
Or do you have a warrant? And he fucking like ignores
That's
it and seizes it.
That's the moment where I was like, "Oh, you don't give a shit about the law."
You just want that kid.
Yeah,
He's trying to get that kid, man.
yeah, got to get that at all costs.
What was with the beetle on the nail? Was that
I
one
don't-
girl really messed up, or was that just like a thing they did?
I have no idea what that is. I meant to look that up, but I was writing
I'm gonna
all
jump
this
into that
shit
real
on it.
quick.
See if you can find
Keep going,
something.
everyone.
Yeah,
Because they wouldn't intentionally show something like that without it being a thing.
And it was a
Exactly.
very overt. It wasn't just like off to the side. Like they focused on that for like a solid 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, because there's another scene with an amphibian where the candy shop owner like puts a frog in the little girl's mouth
yeah,
to get rid of the sore throat.
yeah, to give the croak to the frog.
Exactly, which is like awesome, like sympathetic magic.
Yeah,
And like it's like a transferring of the illness to the
Right.
frog. So I can't imagine that the beetle on the nail isn't something. I have no idea.
yeah, absolutely. Just some hits here. Dancing out at the Stonehenge.
It's amazing.
They have their own hinge, dancing their asses off, singing.
Having a fucking blast. Doesn't that look great?
It does.
Lord Summerisle calls that their divinity lessons.
Yeah.
too.
I loved it.
And Howie is like not about it at all.
It is almost silly because it is a very delightful movie, despite what ultimately happens. But
Right.
I am watching it, going, they're having such a great time. Everyone is having so much fun.
The whole time.
The whole goddamn movie, it's like a utopia, and we're watching the bad guy, I guess.
Right.
And
That has arrived that is
Yeah.
condemning the utopia.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I think I found it.
All right. What is
So
it?
it's from this is from ElaineMcIntyre.net.
Oh,
if that
good.
tells you how old the site is, like a true GeoCities page.
Finally.
Yeah, but
Good.
what it says is, like the beetle he finds tied to a nail in Rowan's empty desk at the school, slowly winding itself closer to death.
Oh,
he
it's
moves
him.
inexorably and unwittingly towards his fate.
Oh, nice.
Man, this
Damn.
movie's good.
That's good.
That is really good.
I knew there was something to it. I didn't
Yeah.
know what it was.
I kept
but
thinking it was
I thought it was a magic thing.
We
Yeah,
both
like a
watched it
magic-
pretty late last night,
Yeah.
so
So moving past the hinge with people dancing around it and singing.
Did you notice that? Sorry to like. There's
No,
another
go ahead.
good ritual aspect
Yeah.
of that. That while they're doing this ritual, no one there is pregnant because all the pregnant women are already in the fields,
Yes.
like tending to the plants.
Right. I
So
did notice
good!
that.
man,
Yeah.
that's good.
I feel like because the writer because it's based off that book Ritual, and I say based off. It's I haven't read the book, but I've heard that is it.
Yeah, I was reading something about it earlier, and they're like, no, it's a pretty direct take from that.
Oh, okay, cool. So with that, it felt like they wrote this movie essentially with Howie as like a catalyst for exploring this thing that's just happening all on its own.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like if you look at it from like he's the thing that allows the audience like this like private look at this closed society.
Yeah. Because I got the vibe the whole time that every single thing you saw in the movie was carefully researched, that so many other horror movies really fuck up where they just go, oh, cult shit.
Here's like there's like scrawl on the walls.
Yeah.
It's in blood. They've killed an animal,
right,
etc.
Yeah, exactly. That's about it. With this one, it really does feel like it's just carefully researched. So every single thing you see, in fact, the whole, even down to the little frog in your throat thing, every single thing.
It's so good.
Yeah, and it all means something.
One of the things I had read, like when they were getting ready, like when they were pitching the movie and everything, they basically said, look, all of the horror movies right now are very focused on the viscera and the gore and just like, oh my God, he's got chopped in half and he's dead now.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's really cheap horror. They said, we want something that's more thrilling and just more weird and creepy than anything else.
Yeah.
So that's why I think you nailed it. He's like Howie's very much a Mary Sue. No matter how much we can't really relate to him, we still kind of do. Yeah, he's a negative Mary Sue, almost an antagonist.
Yeah.
But
in a lot of ways he is.
We still kind of have to identify through him.
Yeah.
Except Brett, because that's more, especially at the time, like that's more everybody's exposure. Like most people are not
True.
in a pagan mindset at that point. So everybody else is probably going, yeah, it is really weird that you guys are, eating frogs because you have a sore throat.
Yeah. And
so it's weird, but it
like
definitely makes sense.
He's the audience surrogate.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, from like a more, and that would make sense. It's a more like closed off, like intolerant time. So that does make sense.
Yeah.
Like, you're right. There was definitely an uptick in the interest for it, and I think that's why it did really well in those certain circles.
Well, it was a counterculture thing, so it wasn't like general public opinion.
Yep.
And I guess Howie represents the general public opinion side.
Yeah. So it's interesting watching it now and going like, oh yeah, Howie is
the worst.
Howie's the worst, yeah. Oh, he's awful. He's the bad guy in a lot of ways with this movie. I mean, they certainly, at the end of the day, Howie did get burned in a big Wicker Man to death.
Like, he was definitely right, and that's probably the worst part.
Right.
I think that is the worst part, is Howie is right. Absolutely weird.
Because we've been shitting on him now for a while, and then he ends up being right.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, that's like the one black mark on Lord Summerisle's whole experience.
He did sacrifice a guy.
Yeah, I know. But he was really cool about it the whole time.
He's like, you came here of your own accord. You did this to yourself.
That whole explanation of what happened is, I think, one of the best, like, horror reveals that I've seen I'm a huge horror nerd, so like you usually don't get that like retrospective look back at what was happening. Yeah. And the whole fucking thing was a setup.
Yeah.
Like,
the whole time.
Getting him to the island. He's the lawman with the power of the king, who is a virgin, who is a Christian. Yeah. Who is like all of the things that would make.
He's a bingo card of like the fucker they'd want to sacrifice.
Right. Because it's like, yeah, they could kill one of their own.
Sure.
But, and they would probably be okay with that. Like if it was somebody that they chose.
Yeah.
And but they needed a really potent sacrifice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he just ticks everything.
Yeah.
And his whole speech to him about like the trial through the May Day parade, right? Like where he knocks out the hilarious 70s gay innkeeper who I love. And I wish that I could just hang out with him for a night. And he takes his punch outfit. He actually takes the fucking Fool's Journey, which is like a tarot card thing.
Yes.
Through the whole town. And so he takes the place of the Fool. And like the whole point of the Fool and like the tarot card is like you're a fucking fool if you're using cards to figure out where you're going, and you don't really have any agency or control over what happens to you. So it's foolish to try and predict the future, but you can get little glimpses at it, and that's where like the symbolism comes from with it.
Yeah, I never really knew that. So now thinking back through that whole parade, I'm like, he was a fool.
Yeah.
He did just put his head in those swords and for no reason. He was just kind of like,
and they're a
"All right,
tarot
if you
card.
say so."
Like the Six of Swords is a tarot card.
Yeah.
Damn.
They just started hitting all the
Oh yeah. And he gets, like he's like spanking their butts with his like spanker tool. I don't really know what that thing
the
was.
spanker tool. Right, of course.
I think that if there was any point in time in the movie where Howie would have had a good time, would have been right there.
Yeah.
He looked like he was enjoying it. At first, he's like, "What? Get your bums away from me!" And then he goes, "Okay, I'll play
Okay,
it."
I'm gonna
all
play
right,
along.
come here, you.
Come
All right.
here, you. Get that
Come
butt
on,
over
Willie.
here.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's so funny too. Like he's like not playing with it at all, and then like Summerisle is like in drag.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know why he's in drag. I guess he's
I
supposed
was
to be.
into it though. It was like a super Frankenfurter-esque moment to me.
Yeah.
I guess he's supposed
in
to be
this-
the goddess. I don't know.
I don't know what he was supposed to be. He had this long black wig with really. It looked
Like a
like
super Cher wig.
Yeah.
Share.
It really was. His face was like painted white, and he had like red lipstick on and shit. And he was in some kind of like green dress item, holding two swords.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Axes. That I remember now because he was on the barrels.
Oh
Right.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
they do the whole ale sacrifice,
Sacrifice
to the sea
ales.
god.
Yeah,
Oh shit.
it was just it was incredible the whole time.
And like when he explains, like, you're a fucking idiot. You came here on your own. You could have left. Is
And
We
in
gave
fact-
you every opportunity.
they
to
gave
leave.
an opportunity to leave every time they interacted with him.
Mhm.
They offered to fuck him, which would make him an improper sacrifice.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't do it.
That's what I find so interesting is they brought him to the island. So the whole thing is they brought him there to try to find the girl, right? They being what
Summerisle.
pretty much.
Summerisle's
Yeah.
inner circle.
So then the regular folks on the island kept trying to get him to leave, or they kept trying to like fuck him to make him not as sacrificial, I guess. So that seems kind of odd to me, and this is less of a cult thing and more of a plot point thing. What's up with that? Why'd they try to like ruin his?
I don't know.
The way I looked at it, I really think that they wanted him to
Mm-hmm.
effectively really make that choice because they already said that you came here willingly. But like they called him there, it's his job ostensibly. So they're like, we need to make sure that you're going to be a really
Right.
good sacrifice, and
Okay.
he did. He chose at every turn. He's like, I want to be here. I want to find Rowan. I want to remain chaste. I want like all of these things. He took that bingo card in the beginning,
Yeah.
and then he like plastic dipped it, and he was like, this is not going to change. This is my lot in life.
So like
he really
trials.
chose- exactly.
Okay.
Oh man,
nice.
I didn't pay attention to this. It just made me think of it. I wonder if they asked him to leave 3 different times, because that would be kind of interesting if that was
would
like
be.
the thematic choice.
I wouldn't be surprised because
Yeah.
there's the one time when the mother says you need to go home.
Mm-hmm.
The school teacher says you need to go home.
Lord Summerisle tells him he needs to go home.
And I don't remember if there's any others because the innkeeper doesn't say that.
No, the innkeeper
Willow
doesn't
definitely
give a
didn't
fuck.
say that. She's like, you need to get in this.
She's like, I can't get in this bathtub, which is super small, by the way.
Right. Tiny bathtub.
Yeah.
Also really hot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna point that out.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, 70s hot. Fuck.
So the last thing I kind of wanted to talk about with the Wicker Man was all of that fucking music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What-
So good.
I've been wanting to hear your thoughts on this because
It-
you're a music nerd.
Oh man, it was so incredible. Before we started recording, you told me that a lot of the music was original.
Yeah, it's either original or it's like an existing English folk song.
That's what and I'd like to do more research into that. We might do a sequel episode just talking about the music of the Wicker Man, because it was I told Madison that this was one of the best diegetic musicals I've ever seen.
What does that mean?
So diegetic versus non-diegetic is music that the characters cannot hear.
Okay.
So, for example,
So in the movie Mamma Mia, all of the
we'll do Mamma Mia. Yeah, when they're singing Mamma Mia,
right.
the characters themselves within the realm of the story cannot hear themselves singing Mamma Mia. They're singing it to an imaginary audience, for example.
So they're being observed.
Yeah.
And then they are participating with the audience by knowing the music.
Right, exactly.
Like probably half and half, because there are some scenes where you can tell they're definitely like they are willingly participating and going along the story, and then you have the others where they're like saying it to themselves, like this is my path kind of thing.
Right.
So they kind of see the both sides. That makes sense.
Exactly. So another example of non-diegetic music is Darth Vader can't hear his theme song
That you know of.
but we can, but we hear Darth Vader's theme.
And you as the audience know that it's Darth Vader's theme song.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So
what's it, the motif for it or whatever?
Yeah, which is kind of a whole other thing. But non-diegetic music, at the end of the day, is music that the audience can hear, that the characters within the story cannot necessarily hear.
Okay.
So if we're talking Mamma Mia with musicals, that's getting a little funkier because they're obviously performing the songs.
Right.
But it's not like they finish performing the songs and Cher goes, "Wow, what a great song we just sang."
I'm really glad we shared that.
No. Sorry.
So diegetic music is music that they can hear. For example, all of the musicians playing at the end of Wicker Man, and they're all singing the song.
Summer's coming in.
Yeah, exactly. And the guy's dying. They can all hear that. They're all performing it within the realm
or like
of
the song around the maypole. Like that was all very intentional to them.
Exactly. So,
good.
I say it's a great diegetic musical because all of the music you hear in it, for the most part, other than like underscoring, things like that, is happening within the story. So the musicians are there. They're playing the music in the pub and people are singing those songs in the pub and they can hear it.
Right.
So within the realm of the story and the plot, they're hearing the music that's being performed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would never have picked up on that.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I just love it because it doesn't happen enough in movies.
Yeah.
Because I'm really biased. I think it should happen more. But I love it whenever people are playing music and the characters are hearing it, and it's occurring within the realm or the plot.
What was your favorite musical moment in the movie?
Shit, when they're marching in the parade at the end.
In the Mayday Parade?
It was incredible.
Really good.
I just want to talk about Lord Summer Isle obviously invested in the arts because all of the musicians were incredible, like world class. Like at the end with the whole brass band playing, I was going like, what the fuck? What is happening?
They don't have a lot of luxuries on this island, but they've got a band.
Yeah.
We've got a tuba and not much else. No apples.
The tuba
right now.
was very funny to me.
It really
I
was.
loved it. I loved that they're that killed me. I fucking died laughing when they're carrying Howie up to the Wicker Man to burn him.
Right.
And he's going like, "No, you're all wrong. You have to stop." And the camera pans over and there's a guy holding a tuba. Waiting to play, like he's like just so casually watching this guy get sacrificed.
Just waiting for my cue here.
And he's like, "Oh, when do we come in, guys? Do you know what's going on?"
Like, when do we kick it up?
Yeah.
It's kind of awkward, you know? Like
he's like too ready, like before they close the door. Ah, shit.
Shit. All right, stop, everyone.
Reset to 1.
Yeah, back to 1, everybody. So I loved it, and I would love for someone to write a Wicker Man musical just using the songs from the movie.
Oh, that would be so good.
That way everyone can hear this. It was just so good.
That would be amazing.
Right?
Because it could be a very good performative art piece.
It could.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, folks. We're copywriting it.
This is it. Wicker Man musical 2019.
Oh, we gotta get moving. We're already halfway through.
Not fair use. Don't come towards it.
Yeah.
Did we copyright it?
It's now copywritten.
We did it. Great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, final thoughts on the movie?
I give it 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up from Ethan.
Yeah.
Why?
Fuck Howie. You know? No, 2 thumbs up because I could tell that they did their homework, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On it.
Yeah, I definitely echo that sentiment. Like, I think 2 thumbs way up just because it's really well done. It was very purposely made. You know, this was like there was not a lot of sloppy anything in this. It was everything had a purpose. Everything was thoroughly researched, and it was just like it gave you a really good sense of curiosity and then a little dread for him and like everything. It was just really, really well done.
Brett?
I'm going to give this 2 thumbs up. It is obviously one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
And the reason why I like it, very similar to you guys, everything in this movie is purposeful. It is very well researched. It's like I'm watching a 70s pagan book unfold as a fucking drama.
Yeah.
Which, like even today you don't really get in any popular media format. And to me,
I think, like, not to cut you, but I think like the closest would be probably Sabrina, like not to meme our own show.
Right.
We're
But
tying
like,
it in.
it really does get that level. Like, it's very deep folklore things that they pull up for that
They
show.
do their homework in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and also The Witch, I think.
Yep.
Ooh.
We could talk about The Witch
I can talk about The Witch all day, baby.
all day.
Maybe we'll have to touch on that one
Yes.
a little bit later.
Damn.
But, man.
All right.
To me, it reads as just like the unfolding of everybody's interest in the occult and paganism in the like 70s counterculture community.
Yeah.
Made into a movie for that audience. And then also to shock the traditional viewer as well, which I think it does a good job of.
I think so, absolutely.
And it's a horror movie at its core. To me, not super scary at all because it's something that I would just go participate in myself. But
there are 0 jump scares in it.
There's an overwhelming sense of dread. And when they reveal the fixture of the Wicker Man.
Yeah.
And it's like at sunset on the cliff, there's fucking animals in it.
Yeah.
No one is talking. There's no music playing.
Yes.
And it's just like the monumental fixture. And then the camera pans over to Lord Summerisle, who's like got his arms outstretched and the sun is going down behind him. And oh shit. It's just like when that moment happens and you're just like, oh fuck, they're doing this.
Yeah. They're going all in on this.
Even as somebody that loves it and finds everything else they do innocuous and beautiful, that part is still kind of scary.
It is.
And his like closing statements of like, you have come of your own free will to the appointed place. Come, you have an appointment to keep with the Wicker Man. It gives me chills when Christopher Lee like delivers that one.
That deep voice. It's like, oh shit.
You're like, oh, this is about to fucking happen.
Yeah.
And then it does.
I think that closing shot of like the head of the Wicker Man eventually collapsing and you just see the sun setting over the horizon was so powerful because there's no like there's a little bit like you get him praying and him just like pleading and everything, but then it just fades.
Yeah.
It fades, they're behind you, but the camera's staring at the head of the Wicker Man. It collapses, and then you just see the sun setting and the credits roll.
It kind of sets over its shoulders.
Well done.
Yeah. It was so good.
And you know that the gods accepted it.
Yeah.
And everything was
for
going to be
sure.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
finally, Howie was gone.
So it's a happy ending all around.
It is. Well, the song at the very end is so fucking happy with that they're all singing.
Discordant with
It's-
the scene.
It's just so nuts, and I love it when they do that. When different musicals or movies do that, where they play like overwhelmingly happy music over something terrible happening. Like all those animals and Howie just getting burned to death, and they're just like they've got
Summer is a coming.
they've got the arms going, and they're like, yeah, play it again.
Oh gosh, it is truly a wonderful film. And
It
if you
is.
guys haven't seen it, this has spoiled everything for you.
But honestly, I think you could still get a lot out of it. This is not a movie where, like, yes, the twist matters.
Yeah.
But I think it's not something that's going to take away from your enjoyment of it purely because of the detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys like folklore, if you guys like weird occult stuff, if you like paganism nominally, or anything involving mythology or magic practice, you're going to enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
And if you like those things, there's a good chance you listen to the show. So you're welcome. I think that about does it for
I think
this
that's
one.
it for Wicker Man.
Yeah.
I think so.
If you guys like this one, we'd be interested in exploring more folk horror movies and what we like and didn't like about them.
Yeah.
So feel free to give us some feedback on Patreon, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, email.
Yeah.
Get a bird, tie a letter to it, just throw it out the window.
Yeah.
It'll get here.
Use
I'll
one of
make sure.
Daenerys' ravens because those things apparently have jet engines.
Yeah. And in fact, even if you didn't like it, I think we're probably going to do another one.
Probably.
I'd like to do
I
one.
think so.
I had fun doing this.
Yeah,
And
this was good.
I like note taking while I'm watching stuff because
Yeah.
it makes me realize why I like it even more.
Yeah.
And it's not passive viewing anymore for me. So,
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Great.
great. Good episode, guys. If you liked us, follow us on Apple Podcasts. Give us money on Patreon so we can do cool shit like this for you. We also have like cool merch and stuff. If you haven't seen it on our Instagram, get up on that because we've got pins, stickers, all them hot tracks. If you want more bonus content, hit us up on Patreon. We've got extra stuff coming to you guys at least once a month, twice a month sometimes. It's all that stuff that we hate and wouldn't put to the general public.
That's right.
But because you give us a little bit of Skrilla, we're going to give you some content. I was watching The Wire. Sorry.
All right, Brett, take us home.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This has been another thrilling conclusion to Go Folk Yourself, an American podcast, the subsection Deep Folking, talking about folk horror and the masterpiece, The Wicker Man.
Auf der Landhaus, auf der cosmic moon. Urlaub stampft an Wirtschaft, now shrilly sing cuckoo. Cuckoo, cuckoo, wild bird are you. Be never still, cuckoo.
Oh, Jesus Christ!